Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and I want to start off by letting you know that I have been working all day long in support of Judge Olu Stevens, who is under fire right now for speaking up on behalf of the African American community in the criminal justice system. Many of you know that the criminal justice system has not been kind to black people. This is historical. Michelle Alexander wrote a book about it, The New Jim Crow. This is something that many of us have seen up close. If you know about the horror and the trauma of prisons, what it's done to our families and our communities, you understand why this issue matters so much to me, and I think it matters just as much to you. I don't really have to tell you what police persecution, police terror feels like in our community. I don't need to tell you what it's like to be an accused black man or black woman in front of a justice system where you're not going to even get the right to be judged by a jury of your peers. You are either handed a plea bargain that gives you a scarlet letter for life as a felon, which means you're pretty much marginalized from the economic and political system. That is all deliberate. That's not accidental. Or you're being given the opportunity to go before a jury of white people who are probably going to convict you. In fact, actually, according to the U.S. Sentencing Commission, they stated that in the federal prison system, black offenders receive sentences that are 10% longer than white offenders for the same crimes. They also said the Sentencing Project also reported that African Americans are 21% more likely to receive mandatory minimum sentences than white defendants, and they're also 20% more likely to be sent to prison. So you have to ask yourself, why does this happen? That's the first question, right? And we know that a lot of the reason it happens is because of racism. But then you have to ask, well, why doesn't it change? Why isn't it allowed to change? Well, it's because you've got individuals in that system that are working to uphold that system. So I'm not going to say these people necessarily get up every day and decide they want to be bad people. But when you are a good person who's upholding an evil system, what kind of person does that make you? Does that make you indirectly evil, inherently evil? If I'm a person who would never rape a child, but yet I sit and watch someone rape a child and I cheer him on, and I say that he should be allowed to rape that child, what is my role in the process? Some would argue that I am complicit in the assault of that child because A, I could stop it, and B, I'm supporting it, I'm applauding it, right? And so effectively what we have is we have a system that is without question, undeniably racist. We have a system that without question has been just terroristic toward black people, to the point of it becoming a modern day Holocaust. In terms of how many millions of our families have been affected by the mental illness created through mass incarceration, families breaking to pieces, individuals going to prison, being sexually assaulted on a regular basis, some of them being killed, being denied basic human rights, being tortured, being just severely mistreated. So that's what makes me think about the case of Judge Olu Stevens. Judge Olu Stevens, in case you don't recall, he is the black man who stood up. He was a judge in Kentucky, a Morehouse man, strong Morehouse man. His wife went to Spelman, so they are members of the black elite. And that's fine. I'm okay with them being in that category. The question is, if you are a member of the black elite, who are you fighting for? Or what are you fighting for? Are you just fighting to keep the Mercedes-Benz in your driveway? If that's all you can fight for, then you have no value to the community other than you and your bank account. So let me go a little deeper then and talk about this situation. I'm going to go to Louisville. I'm getting on a plane tomorrow to go to attend a rally on behalf of Judge Stevens. I talked to Judge Stevens. I've talked to him before. I also have spoken. I spoke earlier with attorney Kimberly Bunton, as well as a brother named Jay Alexander, who's a friend of Judge Stevens. And I let them know that not only do I want to support this cause, but I'm also going to go to Kentucky. I'm actually going to be there to support it directly. I'm going to attend a rally. The rally is going to be held, for those of you who happen to want to make the trip to Kentucky. Let me get the information as far as when and where the rally is going to be held. I should have had it in front of me. You know what? I'm gonna pull it up. Here we go. It's going to be at the Fly Cubicle, FLY Cubicle, at 3050 West Broadway. 3050 West Broadway. It's at 7 p.m. on Monday, November 23rd. I was also informed of a rally that is set to take place in the city as well. I'm going to try to find that information. If you can come out, I'd be so appreciative, because I think that the fact is we have to fight. We have to stand up for this brother, and if we don't, then then I mean, nobody will. No one's gonna. We'll probably never have this opportunity again. That's what's I think pressing to me right now, is that most judges don't have this kind of courage. Most attorneys don't have this kind of courage. Most attorneys, in fact, I know more attorneys who are more concerned with protecting the attorney-client privilege than they are with doing the right thing. And that's not always their fault. There's a whole system that does this. But to me, if you're letting someone get away with murder, or letting someone suffer, just spend years in prison, because you want to protect your career, you got to ask yourself, brother, how badly have you been brainwashed by this horrible system? I mean, how badly have they played with your head to make you think that it makes sense to do that? And so when I see Judge Stevens stand up, I see righteousness. I don't know him well enough to say, oh, he's a perfect person. I don't know his life like that, but I do know what he did in this particular case, and I do know what he's standing up against. I'm getting more of a sense of that. So let me go into a little bit into Attorney Tom Wine, who's the Commonwealth Attorney, which is the top attorney in Louisville. I'm thinking that it's similar to like the District Attorney's office, basically. I looked into Tom Wine's life, and I know a few things about him. I don't know everything about the guy. I've never met him, but I even know how much he makes. He makes $115,594 a year, which I guess you expect somebody in his position to make good money. But let me tell you something that happened just last year in 2014. Last year, this is stuff you can look up in the Louisville newspaper. He was accused by Judge Barry Willett. His office was accused of outrageous conduct. That they were basically, according to the public defender's office and according to one of the judges, it seems, they were accused of deliberately withholding evidence. There was one situation where one of his attorneys said she talked to the police, and they confirmed that there was no 911 tape, and the police said not only did she not call us, but there is a 911 tape. So one thing if you kind of have an oversight, but it's another thing when you say, oh yeah, I called so-and-so and confirmed that it's not there, but it wasn't. Not only was it not there, but you didn't make the call. So that's deliberate. I mean, that's a double layer lie, right? That's two lies on top of each other. So the likelihood that one lie is just an honest mistake, I thought they had the tape, but they didn't. I didn't talk to so-and-so. That's one thing. But when I tell you, oh yeah, I called Billy and he told me that there was none left, I'm lying on Billy at that point. I mean, that to me is very interesting, very disturbing. And so Wine kind of pushed it to the side. But then there's another case involving a brother by the name of Hammond, excuse me, where they failed to turn over key evidence that would have been exculpatory, that would have exonerated him. And so what I've seen in terms of my research with the relationship between Wine and the public defender's office is that the public defender's office has flat out said that there appears to be a pattern of withholding evidence. There's a pattern of not pursuing justice. There is a pattern of trying to win, even if it means you gotta cheat. Even if it means you gotta cheat. And what this makes me wonder is it makes me think about some of the really warped incentives that can really come to play in the legal system when you have attorneys or anybody who has really lost a sense of understanding with regard to why they're in the profession in the first place. You don't enter the legal profession to win every case. You enter the legal profession theoretically to pursue justice. Justice means that you want the truth, no matter where it lies. But you have a lot of people that go into the legal profession and all they want to do is win. You might have prosecutors, and again, I'm not saying Tom Wine's in this category, but I could say he's being accused of severe misconduct by a lot of his colleagues. You have some attorneys that go into the profession, maybe they want to run for mayor one day. I don't know if that's Wine's ambition. He has run for office. I wouldn't be surprised if he ran for higher office, maybe attorney general, lieutenant governor, mayor. I don't know. And what one thing that they'll brag about is I've been tough on crime and look at my conviction rate. My conviction rate is 99.2%. Okay, okay, but what does a high conviction rate really say about you as an attorney, as a human being? What if you had a 99% conviction rate and only 94% of the people that came before you were actually guilty of anything? So that means that there's 5% of those people. If you tried 1,000 cases, that's 50 people who you've put in prison unjustly. So do you really brag about a conviction rate without thinking about whether or not those people should have actually been convicted? I mean, has your desire to prove yourself to be, Mr. King, whatever you think you are, has that overwhelmed the desire to actually be fair and really do justice and a service to the people that you're supposed to serve and support? You're supposed to serve and protect the community, and here you are, you're running some sort of witch hunt. You're looking to destroy anybody who comes in your path, even if you got to cheat to do that. Again, I don't know if he did all this deliberately. I just know what the judges have said. I know what the media has written, and I know what the public defender's office has said. And it looks to me like a lot of, even before this thing happened with Olu Stevens, it looked like there were a lot of people who felt that Tom Wine was running a crooked shop. So, look, here's some things that I think we got to keep in mind. Here's the thing here's where this desire to win seems to come into play when it comes to Tom Wine's unfair attack on Olu Stevens. Tom Wine's office, based on previous actions, appears to be an office that wants to win at all costs. Well, how do you win when the majority of your when you got a lot of criminal defendants? Remember, black people are more likely to be stopped and frisked by police, so I wouldn't be surprised if a large percentage of these criminal defendants are African American. Not because white people don't commit crimes, but because they're not going to go to the University of Louisville, the University of Kentucky campus, and raid dorm rooms for drugs or underage drinking, in which case they would find hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people to arrest. No, they're going to go into the hood. They're going to look for brothers carrying a little bit of weed, which is why in the state of Kentucky, African Americans are 6 times more likely to be arrested for weed possession than whites, even though whites smoke marijuana too. They smoke it at the same rate as black people. So, as a result, the people being dragged into court are in many cases, are going to be black. So, you're a prosecutor who is responsible for helping pursue justice for these people who've been brought into the courtroom before you. You have, according to your colleagues and according to the evidence, have a record of very disturbing patterns of excluding exculpatory evidence, which to me seems to say that you're trying to win. You're trying to win at all costs. Well, how do you win? How do you win? If your goal is to win and you're trying to get a high conviction rate so maybe you can run for higher office one day, and you're going against all these black defendants, how do you win? What kind of jury pool do you need in order to win the majority of these cases? Will a black jury pool get that for you? Will the black jury pool give you your 99% conviction rate or whatever rate you're aiming for? Probably not. Probably not. If you're talking about a guy named DeJuan Hammond, now again, maybe there's a white boy named DeJuan, but I don't know any named DeJuan, so I don't know if DeJuan Hammond's black or white, but let's guess that DeJuan is black. Again, I'm not even vouching that DeJuan is a good person or a bad person. Maybe he did make a mistake, but just because he made a mistake doesn't mean he doesn't deserve a fair trial. If DeJuan is getting a trial with a jury of his peers, people from his neighborhood, is his likelihood of conviction the same as if he's dealing with a jury pool that's 40 out of 41 of the people are white? No. So what you're really seeing here to me is you're seeing a situation where you have a district attorney, Commonwealth attorney, they call it in Kentucky, who appears to really want to win. African Americans are being dragged in at an extraordinary rate. He is able to achieve this high conviction rate by putting white juries in front of them. Justice Olu Stevens is standing in the middle and saying, no, this isn't right. This isn't right. I'm not saying this guy isn't guilty, but he deserves a jury of his peers. And 40 out of 41 people being white is not a jury of his peers. That's not fair. Justice Olu Stevens is standing in the middle of this. So Tom Wine is fighting back and saying, no, I need my white jury so I can get my high conviction rate so maybe I can run for mayor one day. That's the logic that I'm seeing here. Now, again, I don't know if Tom Wine is running for higher office one day or not, but I wouldn't be surprised. He's run for office before. People tend to be ambitious. That's what they do. And sometimes ambition can make you blind, deaf, dumb, and stupid. And actually a little bit racist. You're trying to climb the ladder of a fundamentally, undeniably racist system, a system that has been proven to be racist time and time again in every statistical study imaginable. I can get you a team of criminologists from all over the globe who will consistently confirm the same stuff. I can lay off a list of statistics that will show you just how racist the criminal justice system is. In fact, let me grab a couple right here. According to the Human Rights Watch, I'm literally grabbing something random right here. I haven't even read this, but let's see what this says. According to the Human Rights Watch, people of color are more likely to use or sell illegal drugs than whites, but they have no more likely to use or sell illegal drugs than whites, but they have higher rates of arrests. African Americans comprise 14% of regular drug users, but are 37% of those arrested for drug-related offenses. From 1980 to 2002, about 1 in 3 of the 25.4 million adults arrested for drugs was African American. Let me read another one to you. This shows that it starts early. According to the Sentencing Project, a very reliable source, even though African American juvenile youth are 16% of the population, 37% of their cases are moved to criminal court, and let me make sure I get this right. And 58% of African American youth are sent to adult prisons. 58% of African American youth sent to adult prisons. Now, let me just tell you about why this is personal for me. And Attorney Wine, I'm sure you got your goons watching this video, and they can watch it, because I'm not here to tell any lies or make stuff up. I'm here to get in your face and tell you the truth about yourself. Here's why this is personal for me. When I grew up, I had an uncle who was like an older brother. I never had an older brother. And I remember he was about 8 years older than me, and I remember I was about 11 years old, and I remember maybe I was 10. I remember him getting sent. He got arrested for allegedly assaulting and beating up a white boy. He beat up a white boy. They charged him with assault. Because he got in a fight and he won the fight, so he was defined to be a criminal. And I remember him going to jail, and he went down to the same halls of justice that Attorney Wine works in right now. And I remember I remember crying when he was gone, because I needed him. I needed my older brother. I needed my mentor. So you stole my mentor from me. And I remember when he went to jail, when he went to prison, I remember he was young, maybe 17 or 18. He was too young to be around the horrible people that you can find in prisons. Not everybody in prison is horrible, we know that, but there are some pretty horrible people in prison. That's what makes it such a nightmare. And I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if he was raped. I don't know if he just got beaten. I know that he certainly was in a lot of pain when he came out, and he never recovered from that for the next 25-30 years. His mental illness was very, very real until the day that he had a horrible accident on the corner of 7th and Hill in the city of Louisville. And he ended up dying a couple years after the accident. He was in a wheelchair until he died. And he was hit by a truck. He was run over by a truck. And when I think about his life and how his life could have been different, I don't know if jail and prison is what made him the man that he was, because his life was a whole set of disappointments for me, one disappointment after another. I mean, imagine having somebody you look up to and you want them to be your hero, and every time they always come up short. But I believe that had the justice system been different, had they dealt with him based on his potential, as opposed to taking his youthful mistake and making it into a death sentence, a spiritual death sentence, by allowing him to go around adult men who were doing God knows what to this young boy, I think he would have been a different man. And so when we allow our criminal justice system to allow this form of torture, this form of terror, on people of color. You've got to understand what this is doing to communities, what this is doing to our society at large. You're not making America better when you're trying to send innocent people to prison. You're not making America better when you send people to prison. You don't try to rehabilitate them or don't want to do anything to help them reconstruct their lives so that they can be better people for their families. You're not making society better off. What you're doing is you're creating more criminals, which fills up the courtrooms more, puts them in front of all white juries so that men like Tom Wine can get a high conviction rate. That's what you're getting. So that's why I support Justice Olu Stevens. In fact, there's a website that we had set up for him that goes to a Facebook page someone set up. This supportolustevens.com, supportolustevens.com. Feel free to go to the page and let's just fight for justice. Once again, let me give you the information for the rally in case you want to come to Louisville. I hope you'll come out. And just so you know, every time I tell that story about my older brother, I have to fight not to cry, because deep down I feel the tears. The little boy in me, the little 10-year-old boy who cried when his older brother got sent to prison, that little boy is still inside of me. He still lives inside my heart, inside my chest. And I just I just don't understand how unconscionable people can be, that they don't care about all those other little boys out there who are losing their older brothers because this system is destroying them, sending them away to torture chambers at an early age. This is our Auschwitz. These are our concentration camps for black people. And the only difference is that the war against the Jews occurred over a 6-7 year period. For black people, it's been 40 years since the war on drugs has devastated black families. We've had millions and millions of people die in drug-related situations. These drugs were not made in our communities. These weapons didn't come from our communities. And those white police officers beating black people show as hell didn't come from our communities. So ultimately, this form of terrorism, I ain't walking around here scared of ISIS. Don't get me wrong. I hope ISIS doesn't show up on my doorstep. But I'm actually scared of the police. I'm more afraid of that than I am of any foreign terrorist organization. Just one more time, let me give you guys the address. The address is the Fly Cubicle. It's Monday, November 3rd at 7 p.m. That's 3050 West Broadway, Louisville, Kentucky 40211. You can email theflycubicle@gmail.com if you have any queries. Let's fight for justice, and let's check this out. This last little thing. I'm going to Tom Wine's page real quick, and I want to read some of what he says in his job description in terms of what he claims to do for the state of Kentucky. He says the Office of the Commonwealth Attorney occupies a critical position in the criminal justice system, commonly referred as the district attorney in most states. The Commonwealth's attorneys must focus the power of the state on those who defy its laws. They seek to do justice for all. Our mission is to do justice. Our vision is a criminal justice system in which all parties and participants receive or dispense fair and respectful treatment and the justice that each deserves. We value ethics, integrity, and justice, which guide our actions, professionalism, teamwork, etc., hard work and dedication to mission, fairness, diligence, and respect to all. So I keep hearing words like fairness and ethics and integrity and justice, and I just want to know how much integrity there is in withholding evidence that could have let an innocent person go free. How much integrity is there in insisting that you want to remove the one judge in your system that is actually questioning the fact that there's something wrong with this system, that's actually speaking up about the fact that black defendants who commit crimes in black neighborhoods are not being judged by black people. They're being judged by white people from only God knows where. I mean, really, where is this? I mean, where is it that where in our logic are we going to ever connect the job description to the way the job is done? I mean, at what point do we realize that we're feeding each other a pile of bullshit when we say that this description is in any way indicative of how this man is running this office? This is not how this man's running this office. What he's really doing, here's what is happening in this justice system as well as many others across the country. The justice system, in many cases, is not built to protect and serve everybody. It's pretty much built to protect the rich from the poor, the white from the black, So if you're rich and white, your odds of ending up in the system are slim to none, because either you won't get stopped and frisked by the cops, you won't get arrested for your crimes, or you'll be able to buy your way out of whatever problem you have, whatever legal issue you've created for yourself. It's not true in every case, but it's true in a lot of cases. If you're poor and you're black, chances are that once you get in that system, you are done. The mere accusation is enough to fry you for good. Just interacting with a police officer, just seeing one on the street and having him ask you, "What are you doing out here this late? Why are you in St. Matthews when you're supposed to be in the West End?" Just having that cop stop you and ask you a question is enough to create a chain of events that ultimately leads to the end of life. That's what we're looking at in this criminal justice system. Let's not think that it's something that it's not. This ain't justice, people. This is something entirely different. This is Jim Crow. These juries, these are Jim Crow juries. I think we need to we need to question this. We need to call an end to this kind of mistreatment. And black folks, here's the thing: you need to challenge yourselves too. You know, understand that most of the time, a bully only beats up on you because you lay on the ground and keep letting them kick you in the head. You can't allow your victimization to somehow be your calling card and the banner that you carry that makes you proud. That look at how much we've gone through and we survived it all. No, there's a point where you have to say, look at how hard we fought. You've got to fight. So I'm going to say this. I bet you, here's what I bet. I bet you that Attorney Tom Wine is probably not a horrible person all the time. He's probably good to his kids. He probably thinks he's a good man. He probably feels that he's protecting people from the thugs of the community. Unfortunately, he too is a victim of white supremacy. He's been poisoned. His mind has been poisoned by this notion that somehow most black people, of course I'm sure he's got the little black people in his office that work for him and stuff. I mean, in Kentucky states like Kentucky and Alabama, so they're notorious for having high-profile, high-ranking black people who serve the interests of the white supremacist power structure. No different from the plantation. No different. For all I know, this man could even have a black wife. Maybe he had a black girlfriend in college or something. So this idea that he hates all black people, I don't buy into that. I think that he believes in the system to a fault. I think he probably has a hard time seeing how he's hurting people, because it would be hard for him to accept that. He'd probably end up drinking if he knew how many people he was hurting, how many lives he was destroying. And if he does realize how many lives he's destroying, then he probably has a hard time sleeping at night. So it's one of those two things: either he's oblivious, he's ignoring it, or he knows it and and it's really bothering him. But at the end of the day, sometimes we get so ambitious, we just think, well, this is the way things are. I can't change anything. And I want to be the governor one day, so I've got to make these hard decisions, and that's what he's going to do. So ultimately, I don't think it's a matter of us hating him for what he's doing here. I think it's a matter of us fighting him and letting him know, look, if you're going to pursue your little selfish agenda and pursue your little 99% conviction rate or whatever it is you're trying to do to make yourself popular and to win public office, don't come pick on our people. Because this community, we protect our babies. We protect the children in our community. You're not going to use our children as feed into whatever little machine you're trying to build that's going to climb you to the top of this ladder. That ain't going to work anymore. So stand up, black people. Speak up, black people. Tell everybody you know about what's happening to Judge Olu Stevens. I do believe that, given that so many people are supporting Judge Stevens right now, I think that no matter what happens with this situation, even if Attorney Wine succeeds in taking Judge Stevens off all criminal cases as he's trying to do, I think that Judge Stevens at some point, I wouldn't be surprised. Again, he didn't tell me any of this, but I wouldn't be surprised if he resigned and ran for office. I think he should run for the Commonwealth Attorney's Office and try to see if he can take Tom Wine's position. That would be a good move for the city of Louisville. But if he does, then you black folks, everybody who believes in justice, y'all need to get out and support him. Give this man money. Give him your votes. Go rally for him. Be engaged. Be active. Don't just be passive. Don't just clap. Don't just pray about it. Get out there and do something about it. That's why you get your butt kicked, because you sit there and you just watch it all happen and don't jump in. You got to jump in the fight. You don't watch your friend at school get in a fight and not jump in and help them. If you help them, then they have a better chance of winning. But if you sit on the side and try to keep from getting punched yourself, then your friend's going to lose the fight and you're going to look like a punk. And your friend's not going to trust you anymore. So jump in the fight. Help your friend fight. You're just as important as they are. That's all I want to say. I didn't mean to talk this long, but I felt like there was a lot to say. And once again, tomorrow I'll be in Kentucky. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna push it as far as we can go. All right, everybody. Well, take care. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World. Please take care. God bless. I'm gone. Peace.